Hello, welcome to Sideways. It's absolutely freezing out here, and in fact it's so cold there don't even seem to be any birds singing. I think they're probably still tucked up in their nests. This week we're talking about the reason I have to walk the dogs some mornings wearing a head torch. The clocks have gone back in the last few weeks. The evenings are darker, the mornings are fast catching up as we career towards the shortest day, get our big coats out, hunker down for the winter. Personally, I'm quite happy in the cold, but not everyone feels that way, as we discuss. If that weren't enough top quality content for you, we also cover drug running with a giveaway tote bag, fried chicken flavoured toothpaste, being attacked by domestic birds, and personifying weather. And why it makes sense that we know and refer to people by their dogs. Seasonal affective disorder, or to its many sufferers, SAD.
Morning.
Good morning.
You okay now?
I'm all right, thanks, yeah. Had a stressful couple of minutes trying to sort out some technical issues.
Oh, right. Can you expand on that, or is it boring?
My background had disappeared, and for some reason it wouldn't put it back again. And then I started fiddling about trying to make Sideways go the right way, which, as you can see, I've managed to do. Unfortunately, it's meant that the head is upside down, though. So in the end, it became a choice between smashing things up and just getting on with it.
Oh, right, okay. Upside down,
just to get on with it.
Upside down's okay, isn't it?
I reckon it's probably a metaphorical significance for the state of the world, isn't it?
Do you think so?
Probably.
Well, there's a big leap from that.
If I thought about it long enough, I reckon there would be.
Yeah, no, you're probably right.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, isn't there?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a bit dark out. You can just see I've got a brighter top on today.
Well, you call it brighter. I'd say it's red, but it's not a bright red, is it?
It's not a bright red, but it's a bit brighter than my normal garb.
Yeah. Have you started? Of course, that's what you want to talk about today, isn't it? Have you started to become a seasonal sufferer?
I have, yes. Yeah, it was a clunky segue, really.
No. It was. Well, I don't know if it was clunky. I think it was so subtle that I missed it.
It might have flown by. But yes, because that's what I wanted to talk about this morning. Obviously, seasonal adjusted disorder.
Nice.
I know we've talked about it in the past, haven't we? I mean, it's pretty relevant at this time of year with the clocks going back recently, isn't it? And I'm driving home in the dark now from work, and pretty soon I'll be driving to work in the dark as well. And I can feel myself going into that hibernating state.
Yeah, but don't you find when you're having to do that, two things. One, when you do get home, it's nice, isn't it? You put the lights on and it's nice and warm indoors, and I think that contrast is quite pleasant. And the other thing, of course, is that having to go through months of gloomy winter makes spring all the more glorious, doesn't it?
It does make you appreciate it, you're right, but I'd prefer to have that all year round, really.
Well, go and live in bloody somewhere else. I couldn't think of anywhere.
I think of a warmer clime.
I was going to say Mexico, which would probably be right, but I don't know why Mexico came into my head.
No, but no, I don't know if that would be the first choice I'd make, but I'm sure Mexico's lovely.
What would be your first choice?
I'd probably stay in Europe somewhere, but just a bit warmer.
Okay, so you've got to go fairly far south, haven't you?
You have, really, yeah.
Maybe right down the bottom of Spain, somewhere
like that. Yeah,
South of France, probably.
South of France, you probably get away with it, or southern Italy, or something, or something like that.
But Puglia, you'd go to Puglia, couldn't you?
Well, where's Puglia?
Right down the bottom of Italy.
Is it?
Yeah.
I might go to Sicily, something like that.
Yeah, that's quite far south as well. You could join Mafia, couldn't you? You could be a big boss, couldn't you?
I could do some drug running, couldn't I? To be a little bit, and then go to work.
And do that. That'd be a turn up, wouldn't it?
It would, and then go to work in the rehab during the day. Yeah. There's a certain irony about the whole that situation.
Yeah, that would be quite amusing if you were working in a rehab and having to run drugs to make ends meet.
Yeah, just to put food on the table, which leads me quite nicely into the before we start actually,
Okay.
because there was a woman arrested. Where was she? Oh, she was in Florida.
Yeah.
She was arrested. She had a tote bag with definitely not a bag full of drugs printed on the outside, right? Okay. No, I suppose she thought it was a bit of a double bluff.
It's a bit of an obvious one, isn't it?
It's really, because they pulled her over obviously, and she was found inside. There was crystal meth, needles, digital scales, baggies, everything a drug dealer would want, really,
Right. Yeah.
Basically anything but what you'd normally find in a. Actually, I don't know what you'd normally. Yeah, I don't know what is normally in a tote bag, but I don't own one.
A grapefruit, some shopping.
Shopping, yes.
A couple of avocados, loaf of bread.
That sort of thing.
Exercise books, probably. Tote bags. I can imagine them being hauled along to university lectures.
This is sounding like a voice of experience. Have you got a tote bag?
I probably have got a tote bag. I can't recall ever using one, but
No.
I do remember taking my daughter around to when she was looking at universities, and quite often at those sort of recruitment fairs.
Yeah.
Certain stands were giving away tote bags. She collected quite a number of them, but whether she uses them or not, I don't know.
Yeah,
but as far as I know, she's never put crystal meth in them.
No, well, fingers crossed. And I'm sure she doesn't strike me as the sort of person to get involved in that sort of shenanigan.
No, I'm just thinking about the thought process of the woman who had that printed on the bag.
Yeah,
drugs. I mean, that is a very, very bold double bluff, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? Yeah, she's got plenty of time to think about it now in a crusty old cell, drafty and windy.
What was she sentenced to? Did you know?
I didn't get that far. I just thought it was quite a funny headline and a funny little story.
She probably works in a rehab during the day.
Yeah, just supplying in there. It keeps the business flowing, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? Because they have to keep coming back.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense. Yeah, that'd be like me sort of trying to emotionally traumatise people so that I could keep a steady clients.
It is. Yeah, it would be.
Unethical, I think, would probably be the best way of describing that.
I'm sure a professional body would look a little bit through over their glasses at you. That's what they would But which often we're discussing this in a group the other day where the opposite end of that scale really is where drug dealers they obviously they cut their product with all sorts of bits and pieces to make it go further.
Yeah.
And they're putting very strong fentanyl in some things, which is killing people, which seems a strange business model to kill off your clientele. Do you know what I mean? It just seems a bit weird.
Yeah, I suppose either that or even more disturbing. They consider that there's such a number of such a multitude of likely customers that they're not worried about killing off the odd one or two. I mean, it's
quite
staggering, really, isn't it?
It is staggering. Yeah, there's always going to be a steady supply. That's for sure of new clients, but it just seems a bizarre way to carry on. Anyway,
you can't trust these drug dealers, can you?
You can't. You think they have a modicum of sense and compassion. Obviously, they don't. There's another story I looked at. No, I don't think we've done this before, but it came up anyway when I was looking at research. Where you tell me if we've talked about this before. KFC.
I like it already. Ran out of chicken.
No, they've launched a fried chicken flavoured toothpaste. anything more?
We've definitely not talked about this before.
No, perhaps I read it twice and I got this sort of deja vu feeling. So they've sort of teamed up with this trendy toothpaste brand called His Smile or High Smile. I don't know which.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
It's for this sort of collab, as they call it these days, don't they?
Oh yeah, a collaboration. Yeah.
Collab that nobody asked for. I mean, it was originally apparently cooked up as a sort of an April Fool's joke, and then it sort of took fire, and it's now in full production. So if you have to get the States,
okay, right. So
you'd need to go to the States to get some, I think. But yeah,
would you clean your teeth with the Colonel's secret blend of herbs and spices?
Well, I prefer like a menthol sort of taste.
That's what I don't understand about that. I mean, isn't part of the benefit of cleaning your teeth, apart from your teeth get clean, that sort of fresh taste you have in your mouth?
Yeah, fresh breath, fresh taste. Yeah, exactly.
Right, so in the past, just think back. I'd take a moment, because I know this will be tricky.
Okay.
But can you ever recall eating a fried chicken dinner and thinking, "Oh, my mouth feels lovely and fresh"?
No, I haven't.
Unless you ate one of those lemonette freshening up squares they used to give you with KFC. I don't know if they still do.
I don't know. Yeah, you could squeeze some of the juice in. Yeah, or wipe your tongue with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I've never done that and thought, well, I'll feel all nice and fresh. It'd be like going for a curry, wouldn't it? Having curry toothpaste, Vindaloo toothpaste.
Yeah, kebab.
With chili sauce, and putting that on your teeth and tongue, no way. Actually, do you?
I mean, that's just bizarre, really, isn't it? Fried toothpaste.
Yeah, sorry, it's just something that's sprung to mind. Then, when you clean your teeth, do you brush your tongue?
Yes.
Yeah, because I do, but when you speak to people, they say no, don't do that. But they say it's good for your tongue, don't they?
Yeah, it is. And if you don't brush your tongue at all, I mean, I probably don't do it every single time. I think probably in the morning I would do it.
Yeah, it's a bit furrier then, isn't it?
Yeah, it's furrier in the morning, isn't it? But it gets all gunky, doesn't it? It's sort of not very nice.
Yeah.
Why would you not think to brush your tongue?
Well, you see, when you're in the full flows of alcoholism, anything near your epiglottis will make you heave anyway, because you heave at the merest, the hint of a horrible smell or anything. You're heaving, and you throw up every day anyway. Anyway, so you don't want to encourage it. So a lot of people end up not brushing your teeth. No, I didn't for a long time. Yeah. Which when you go into recovery, then suddenly you've got to go to the dentist, have lots of work done.
Yeah. So when so if you're in active addiction, are you likely to be the target market for a KFC flavoured toothpaste?
No, because you don't bother to clean them anyway. So
I'm wondering though whether a minty taste or the taste of a zinger might be more appealing to the discerning alcoholic.
No, if Smirnoff launched one, you might be talking a different story.
Oh yeah, that'd open up a whole new can of worms, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we?
Yeah, we better, don't we?
Yeah, a seasonally adjusted disorder, also known as SAD, obviously, which is quite sometimes acronyms can be quite accurate, can't they? In what they're trying to portray.
I know it does make a lot of people quite sad.
It is. I mean, it's a type of depression that follows a seasonal pattern, typically occurring in autumn or fall to our American friends.
I prefer fall. I think we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, so it occurs in fall and winter and then improves in spring and summer. But less commonly, it can occur the other way around. So it can occur in spring and summer, known as summer pattern seasonal adjusted disorder, which you might have a touch of that, mightn't you?
Well, I'm more likely to have that, and
I
certainly don't have that. But it's not true to say that I don't enjoy spring and summer. I do. I just have a slight problem with it if it gets too warm.
Yeah.
Above about 20 degrees. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, you start to go all moany and whiny, don't you?
It's just too hot, isn't it? There's no need for it. It's unnecessary excess.
It's lovely. It's just I was looking out my window, and I'm looking out the window right now, and there's a poor lady struggling by with a bedraggled dog, and I'm thinking, this is not. It must be so much nicer.
Happy. She's probably happy out there with her bedraggled dog, and I expect her bedraggled dog is happy. I was out over at Bearsted this morning. In fact, I thought about you because it was that sort of wet rain, the rain.
Wet rain. Fine.
Yeah, very fine rain. Hadn't looked like it was going to rain, so I hadn't really gone prepared for rainy weather, and I was getting quite wet. But it's still lovely, isn't it? Still lovely to be outside, breathing the fresh air. Beautiful.
Actually, I can just see another dog walking now, and I know the name of the dog, Molly. Yeah, she's got a coat on. Molly, the dog's got a coat on.
Right.
And I only know her mum. In my mind, it's just Molly's mum. I don't know her name. It's surprising, isn't it? Do you reckon you're known as sort of Nellie's dad?
Bound to be, because for men, in fact, I still refer to him now. Somebody I meet most mornings, some dogs at the Heath. He's known in our family as Mr. Coco because he's Coco's owner. Even though I know his name, I still refer to him as Mr. Coco.
Yeah. So people get known more by their doggies' names than they do by their own names themselves.
Well, I think that's quite right, because it's easier to connect with a dog than a person. You say Molly's got a coat on. What kind of dog is Molly?
I don't know the breeds of dogs. I don't know.
Oh.
I've got no idea what she is, but she's got a little red coat on. Same colour as my hoodie as it goes.
Well, maybe she's feeling a little bit blue about the change of the clock.
Perhaps she is. Perhaps she's going to. I don't know what sort of dog it is. It's a sort of medium-sized doggy, medium to small.
Yeah, that's narrowed it down a bit.
Narrowed it down a bit, isn't it? Yeah. Anyway, see if Molly might be suffering the symptoms. So I was going to look at the symptoms of SAD.
Right.
So they're common to all types. This is for both seasonal and the summer pattern seasonal. Mm-hmm. Persistent low mood.
Makes sense.
It does make sense. A loss of interest in usual activities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that coming on.
Do you?
Yeah, I do. When it gets a bit, when it starts to get a bit mizzy outside. Fatigue or low energy.
Yeah.
That's straightforward, is it? Difficulty concentrating. Yeah, I don't know if that. Yeah, maybe.
Well, I mean, I suppose though the things you just mentioned go with that, don't they? If
they do, really.
If you feel depressed and you're finding it difficult to do, or you don't feel like doing the things you usually do, that is essentially a kind of form of lack of attention. I think when you're feeling very low, your attention is taken up often by how low you feel, and therefore it's quite difficult to focus on other stuff. You think about when you're doing something effectively. Usually you're doing it effectively because you're feeling all right. You feel balanced. You feel like, I'm okay, you know?
I do, yeah. Do you think we have a habit then of concentrating on that low feeling itself?
Yeah, and that's what perpetuates it.
Yeah.
Because I think we spoke about it. We didn't. Oh no, we've never done an episode on depression, have we? Because you always avoid that.
We must do that at some point.
Yeah, if you have a low mood, you know, people there's never a shortage, is there, of advice as to what you should do. But if you're feeling low because it's autumn and the days are dark and it's rainy and miserable outside, you don't feel like doing any of those things.
No, you don't.
So the less you do, the more space you have to focus on how shit you feel. So
and I think it's perpetuated somewhat. You know, living in a flat where you don't have access to the outside all the time. You know, in the summer you go out, and I like it. I like going out walking all the time. But in the winter, no, you do feel much more cooped up.
That's interesting. There is a correlation between suffering from seasonal affective disorder and living in a place without a garden.
Is there?
I don't know. Maybe there is. I'm going to have a look at it after we've finished.
You could do a PhD on it, couldn't you? If it hasn't been.
Before the next episode?
If you could, that'd be lovely. Yeah, just a report back.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the.
Which feeds into some of the other symptoms of feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness. That's quite an extreme, but I suppose it does gently feed into that.
Well, I suppose you are an example of someone who will be on that continuum.
Yeah.
Of people who, I know you don't like autumn and winter, but you wouldn't say you're a sufferer of SAD, would you?
Looking at the symptoms,
you get a bit grumpy, but then it's difficult to tell the difference between what you are the rest of the time.
I think I get some of the symptoms. But
yeah.
I don't feel hopeless or worthless. That's quite an extreme if we are looking at a spectrum or a continuum.
Yeah, so in the same way that feeling a bit low isn't feeling depressed.
No.
It's possible to feel a bit miserable in the darker months, but not be diagnosable with SAD.
No, quite. Because one of the other symptoms is changes in sleep and appetite.
Right.
Now, I tend to sleep more and eat more, which is a bit strange.
That is a change.
Put on a bit of timber. Yeah, I think it is it is a change.
But you're hunkering down, aren't you? I suppose.
You are. I am. I do.
Hibernating.
Yes, I do get into hibernating mode.
Yeah. You like to get in down Aldi and buy some Stollen bites, don't you?
Do you know what? They've been in sort of since the end of October, and I haven't purchased any this year.
No, well, of course you haven't, because it's the flipping 16th of November. I went to Airsted this morning. They got the Christmas tree up on the green. Why don't we just leave it up all year? Be done with it.
Quite. Well, you know my thoughts on Christmas, but it deserves to be in December and stay in December. Yeah, I agree.
I do know your thoughts on Christmas, but I also remember that you said you were going to try and be less curmudgeonly this year.
I am, which is I'm trying to wear brighter clothes during this season to see if that has an effect.
Yeah, maybe you could sort of go out carol singing or something.
I may do that.
Yeah.
I may not, but you never know. But the last symptoms here was the thoughts of death or suicide, which if we're talking about a spectrum, that's right at the severe end, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, people who are severe sufferers of SAD, would feel like they can't. But you think about, if you feel very, very low, and you know that the reason for you feeling very, very low is the constant sort of dark, dingy weather, and you know it's going to go on and on and on interminably for week after week after week.
Yeah.
You can understand if you're being affected by it like that you would feel like you can't get through it.
Well, quite. Yeah, no, I can understand that. But it is quite going that far, it's quite a leap, isn't it?
It is quite a leap. Of course, you also know you've got to tolerate it every year.
You have, but you also got to comfort yourself with the seasons change, and it will be just got to hang on in there. And those symptoms I just went through there, they're common to both types of the winter pattern and the summer pattern disorders. I'm going to go on to, and it's split up after that. So there's 4 that are attached purely to winter pattern, and I've sort of already touched on them because oversleeping is one of them, which is hypersomnia, which I've already talked about. Craving carbohydrates and overeating, weight gain, social withdrawal, hibernation feeling. So I do have those. Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
Sad after all.
So summer pattern, which might be a bit of insomnia.
No, I never really suffer from that.
You've always had a good sleep pattern, haven't you?
I'm quite good at sleeping. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what that says about me, but
very good. You're an expert. Poor appetite and weight loss.
No, I wouldn't say those apply to me.
Restlessness or agitation?
No, I only get restless and agitated if it's really, really hot, but I don't think that's particularly unusual. I think a lot of people feel like that.
The last one was anxiety and irritability. I know you're
I'm never irritable, as you know.
That's a season. That's not seasonally adjusted. It's all round.
No, that's 12 months of the year. That is for me.
It is, yeah.
No, I'm absolutely sure that I do not fulfil the criteria for a diagnosis of any form of seasonally affective disorder.
No, I might fall into that winter pattern, but I think I'm not.
You do sound as if you might do a little bit.
Yeah.
So at least then if you put on about half a stone over the winter, you can say, that's because of a seasonal affective disorder.
Oh, great. Yeah. Do you eat more chocolate in the winter?
No, I don't think I do. I mean, I probably eat a little bit more around Christmas like most people do, but I don't think I notice a massive change in my eating habits. I probably eat slightly different food. I probably eat fewer salads.
Yeah.
So, I'm not quite sure I'm quite so keen to sit on the decking and eat a salad, but I don't think my appetite or my eating habits changes that much.
Isn't it changed because you get a hippie box turn up, don't you, with seasonal veggies?
Yeah, that's true. You get a lot more root veg in the winter.
Yeah.
But I grew a lot of kale this year, and it's gone absolutely wild. So I'm having to eat a lot of kale at the moment just to keep up with it.
Yeah.
I can make 2 kale smoothies or something.
Kale smoothies?
Is it nice? Yeah, I love kale. I mean, I know a lot of people aren't that keen, but I'm very fond of it.
Yeah, I like it. it. Yeah,
How do you like yours?
Crispy.
Oh, yeah, it's nice crispy. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my favourite way of imbibing.
Yeah, it's like crisps then, isn't it?
Kale crisps. I think you can get kale crisps, can't you?
You probably can. I can't really have crisps in the house because then I would be suffering from weight gain.
Steaming through them.
Yeah.
So just looking at the causes of this particular condition, mainly it revolves around the reduced sunlight for us winter sufferers, because that affects the
light box.
I'll come on to that because it reduces reduced sunlight. It affects your melatonin, which is the sleep hormone. So without that can cause issues, causes your sleep pattern to change. It can affect reduced sun. Also can affect your serotonin, your mood regulating hormone.
Yeah.
So those decreased levels can lead to you feeling depressed. And your circadian,
one can lead to the other if you're not sleeping properly.
Yeah,
and that will affect your serotonin anyway. Yeah.
Well, it does. It leads on to the next point, where your circadian rhythm is disrupted. So your body clock gets a bit disturbed by less daylight being about.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is quite an important point, because I've known people over the years. I don't know what you're like in this regard, but I've known quite a few people over the years whose sleep, I mean, this sounds like an obvious thing to say, whose sleep is very much affected by light. Now, I'm fortunate in that it doesn't matter how light it is, if I'm tired, I can sleep. So in my bedroom, we used to have blinds, and it would let the light through. You couldn't keep the light out. It was nothing like blackout blinds. And so in the summer, my bedroom would be light at about 4 a.m, but it didn't really bother me. But I've known a lot of people who would say I wouldn't be able to sleep. That would be it. I'd be awake. And so I think if you are someone like that, then obviously the change in the seasons and the longer nights and, short nights in the summer is going to be a big factor. I don't know what you're like with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's rather strange, because I quite like sleeping in the light, which is rather strange, because when you're in the madness, when you're sleeping at odd times, so you're awake at odd times and asleep at odd times, so you don't really know whether it's day or night sometimes. But there's a certain comfort of sleeping in the daylight. In fact, if I wake up early, sometimes I'll draw the curtains to let more light in and go back to sleep. I like it.
Yeah,
really do.
But then, of course, I go to bed so early that I'm going to bed in the light virtually all year round.
You have to go to bed. You go to bed about 4:30 now, don't you?
Yeah, it's a bit different right this time of year, but certainly in the summer. I mean, it would be in the height of the summer. I would always be going to bed, and it would be light outside.
It'd be light outside, yeah.
So,
yeah, no, I'm all right with that. But what did come up is a genetic predisposition may play a role. I wasn't aware of that, but so if you,
not sure I was actually.
Huh?
I didn't know that.
No, apparently. So it's more common in women and younger adults between the ages of 18 and 30.
Oh, 1830.
1830.
They still do 1830 holidays.
I don't know. I never went. Did you go on one?
No, I didn't.
They were just pure hedonism, weren't they, really?
Yeah.
Get you
I always prided myself on being able to make my own hedonism if I needed.
Well, quite, yeah. I know Paul, my brother, he went on a couple.
I think I remember him going on them, yeah.
I think he went with Simon Jackson, who I think listens to this podcast, so he'll probably be able to confirm.
He can corroborate or otherwise, can't he?
He can corroborate, and I think that I got a feeling they went to very inappropriate, like Magaluf and places like that. Which is
well, they had a full English breakfast every day and all that sort of caper.
They did, but I remember him saying that there'd be a lot of people, mainly geezers, congregated in the breakfast room. And there were food fights. They were throwing bits of toast would suddenly whack you on the forehead.
No, I wouldn't want that on holiday.
No.
It's the last thing I'd want. Being struck by a croissant.
That should have been upmarket 1830 in that case.
Before my day's begun. So it's taking a hefty blow from a pastry or a bacon roll. Yeah.
Well, we used to go to Reading to the rock festival to get that, didn't we? To get hit by flying food.
Yen got corn on the cob, didn't he?
He got corn on the cob, which is a little bit more upmarket as well. So yeah, there's a higher prevalence of the disorder in northern latitudes, obviously with shorter daylight hours.
Yeah.
And people with bipolar disorder may be more vulnerable. And there we go.
That's interesting. I'm not sure I knew that either, actually. I suppose that also makes sense, though, doesn't it?
It does, because the diagnosis. I mean, you can get a diagnosis on this, but it's normally after ruling out lots of other conditions beforehand, and that it almost gets left as, that's probably what you've got then, or maybe what you have.
Yeah.
So that you can't go in straight away and just say, yeah, this is what you've got. It seems to be a ruling out of other stuff first before the diagnosis appears. So just ways of treating it, and you touched on it, the light. You did mention light therapy, didn't you? You mentioned.
I did, yeah.
Yeah, so phototherapy, which apparently is can be quite successful. I know people have daylight bulbs in their rooms, don't they, to help with this?
Those can be really helpful. I mean, it sounds like a very kind of small, insignificant thing, but it can make a big difference.
It is. I like a daylight bulb anyway, because it's nice if you're doing drawing or artwork, etc. To have a proper daylight bulb going on, so you can get the proper grasp on the colours.
Yeah, I find that too.
Do you? Yeah.
When I'm peeling potatoes.
Well, you need to know your Maris Piper. You might pick up the wrong type of potato.
Yeah, you might get a Desiree when you wanted a Maris Piper, might you?
Exactly that. If it's too dull in your room.
Yeah, imagine the sort of absolute awful consequence of that, can't you?
You're getting the right pickle, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Other treatment options, antidepressant medications. Never a big fan of just medicating things away, but that has its place, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that is a tricky one, isn't it? Because if you're taking that for a seasonal affective disorder, then how are you going to get off that? Interestingly, I had a client who used to really, really, really struggle with the winter months, and he did get to the point where I remember him telling me one day, he said, I just embrace it now. You know, I try and find the good in it. I'm not suggesting that if you really you struggle significantly with that, it's as simple as that. But I think if you do feel worn down a little bit by the winter months, then trying to find something to be grateful for within them is quite helpful. You know, there's usually something, isn't there? You know, the colour of the trees, or, you know, going for a nice walk wrapped up, or whatever it might be. If you can find something that gives you a positive feeling, that's probably going to be quite a useful mitigation.
It is, and that leads on to the next one about one of the treatment options is psychotherapy, and you're starting to do it already, aren't you? Especially CBT, they suggest cognitive behavioural therapy would be ideal in this situation.
Yeah, I suppose so, because that makes sense really, because CBT is about changing your thought. It's not, you don't need to necessarily go into all the background of why you're feeling like this, but trying to find a way of reframing your thoughts and finding something positive in what's going on. Quite helpful. Yeah.
It is. The last couple was vitamin D supplementation,
which we probably all need, to be honest.
Yeah.
In living in England.
Yeah. Well, quite.
It's dull a lot of the time, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Well, yeah. And do you think that would you take vitamin D supplementation via a tablet? Do you think or would you just eat more food potentially with vitamin D in it?
I might be wrong about this, but I'm sure I've read in the past that vitamin D is one of those supplements that is probably useful for people in the northern hemisphere or living in the UK. I don't know about the northern hemisphere generally.
Yeah,
I'm sure I've read that it's quite a useful supplement for us to take. So the problem I would have is I'd forget.
Yeah.
You know, I'd have the intent of taking a vitamin D supplement, and then I'd managed to do it for about 4 days, and then I'd realise I hadn't taken one for about 6 months. And it was spring, and lighter. But I mean, I suppose making sure you're getting enough vitamin D in your diet is quite helpful too, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. No, I agree. I'm never sure about taking tablets, supplements. I think I'd be like you if I didn't. I'd struggle with getting that into my routine.
Yeah, I think exactly. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of dismissal of taking a whole rake of supplements, but it sticks in my mind that vitamin D is the one that it probably is worth taking.
Yeah,
I'm going to go out and get some now. You reminded me, and then I'll forget to take it.
Because they sell these like multivit tablets, which are supposed to be.
Yeah, I mean they taste quite nice because they tend to taste of oranges, which is quite nice.
Yeah.
Probably better off having an orange.
Well, exactly. The last one was lifestyle changes, which was increased outdoor activity and regular exercise. Now, that is, I mean, I can see the benefit of that. It's just getting out, isn't it, when it's dark and cold and miserable. But, I think everyone talks about if you walk along The coast, walking along the coast in the summer is lovely, but it also has its own benefits. You can also wrap up warm and go along the coast in the winter, and you get a nice feeling from that as well.
Yeah, I think this is where a lot of people might miss out. Again, if you're a severe sufferer, this might not be relevant for you. But when you look out in the winter and you think, oh, look at it out there, it's sort of raining, it's cold, you don't really feel like going out, but it is good for you to get out.
Yeah.
So if you are someone who tends not to go out for a walk very much in the winter, I mean, this is a wonderful thing about having dogs.
Yeah.
So you can't say, oh, well, it's the winter, I'm not going out. You've got to take them out.
Yeah.
But even if you haven't got a dog, the benefit that you get from going out for a walk, even in bracing weather, is probably more significant than you realise. And it'd be interesting to see if you're someone who doesn't tend to exercise very much during the winter, how that would affect your mood if you were doing so regularly.
Yeah. It's certainly something I'm going to embrace and to try and ward off my anti-Christmas feelings. I'm sure at Christmas it revolves around a seasonal adjusted disorder rather than just Christmas itself. But we'll see.
Yeah. Well, you could be a sort of little experiment, couldn't you?
Guinea pig.
Yeah, a guinea pig. Yeah, you could be a guinea pig. Yeah. Did you ever have a guinea pig when you were a kid?
I didn't know. No, did you? A hamster?
Yeah, we had guinea pigs and hamsters or did we have gerbils and rabbits? Yeah.
No, we had budgerigars.
Yeah, we had budgerigars.
Yeah, they were the rage at one time, weren't they?
They were, yeah. Do you ever have fish?
Yes, had fish.
Yeah, we didn't have fish.
Yeah. And talking about oranges, I remember, again, talking about Paul, my younger brother, he used to like an orange. And I remember budgerigar used to fly loose in the house most of the time. Yeah. And we used to be careful. But I remember it landing, the budgerigar came down, landed on, he had a half an orange to his mouth. It came down, landed on his orange, tried to take a bite and bit his bottom lip. Which was, and it was sort of, he took the orange away and the budgerigar was hanging from his face. And myself and my older brother were just in pieces with laughter. It was fantastic.
That's very good. Yeah, that must have really hurt, though.
Yeah, because it was hanging on.
Thinking that his lip was a bit of orange.
Yeah.
Well, it's an easy mistake to make, isn't it?
It is,
we've all mistaken a lip for orange, haven't we?
Who hasn't done that?
Yeah,
exactly. So that's it, really, mate. That sort of winds up my research.
So basically, if you're feeling a bit low today, get out and have a walk.
That's the thing.
Yes. In Storm Claudia.
Wrap up warm, avoid the falling branches from the wind.
Yeah.
Well, they don't seem to be hit too badly here, have we?
No, we've been very fortunate, I think, haven't we?
Yeah.
Thus far.
Yeah.
We'll get clobbered by another storm later in
of course, yeah. Another one comes along, another name.
Yeah.
And,
Has there been a Storm Martin? I don't think there's been a Graham.
No, I don't know. Yeah, no, it's strange, isn't it? When we personify a weather condition like that.
It
always makes you think if you know of people with that particular name, it becomes synonymous with them.
The Storm Graham would turn out to be slightly less impressive than was forecast.
It'd be a grumpy storm in the summer, that's for sure, wouldn't it? It's too hot. Okay. So that leads us really on to the conundrum feature.
I've got one ready for you.
You have?
Yeah. Don't think we've done this. It's when I was thinking about it, I thought, it's a bit odd. Perhaps we have spoken about this before because it seems like such an obvious one, but I don't think we have. A long-time friend reveals a belief that you consider deeply harmful or abhorrent or prejudiced. Do you end the friendship, attempt to change their view, or maintain the relationship whilst disagreeing with them?
So when you say a harmful view, is that like...
So, for example, if I told you that actually I'm a Tottenham supporter.
Oh, right, okay.
But you get the gist. I'm being flippant. But, if someone revealed to you a racist belief or a particularly unpleasant, they told you they were an incel, whatever it was, how would you respond to that, do you think? Friend of yours?
It depends how good a friend they were, and if you could
that's fair enough.
If you could see by it, because it would be something. If they're a good enough friend, you can challenge them on that, can't you?
This is it is a long time friend. Okay?
Yeah,
Not just
yeah. Okay, yeah. I think the longer term that friendship has lasted, probably more likely you are able to sort of say, "Are you sure?"
It'd be like me joining the British National Party or something.
Well, I was just going to say that because I knew someone who had. She was quite a good friend. She's a recovery friend, and we always got on really well. And then she suddenly told me that she was going to a march on a Nigel Farage support march.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I couldn't see by that.
Right.
And that was it. But then again, she wasn't a long-term friend, and we weren't, close particularly. It was just
okay. So the relationship then kind of ended at that point. The friendship ended at that point.
Yeah, we just avoided them after that. Yeah, and that was it. Yeah, we didn't want anything to do it because I found it quite abhorrent.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a long-term.
I suppose it's quite natural, isn't it? Really, it's quite difficult to imagine that someone could reveal something to you that you felt, really you just was so far against your values.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's would there be a circumstance in which you might ask that person about that view? Oh, that's interesting. I didn't see you as a supporter of Nigel Farage or whatever it might be. I'd really like to understand that. Can you explain to me? Would you ever do that? Can you imagine?
Yeah, you could do. I think I did mention at the time, but I might have just done it flippantly and said, "Are you sure? What are you thinking?"
which is different, isn't it? I think that is quite a natural response for people. But I suppose perhaps one of the reasons why we live in such a polarized society now is that when we do come across someone with views that are different from our own, our natural response is to sort of rear up against it rather than try and understand it. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, if you come to me and said you were going on a Tommy Robinson rally, for example, it wouldn't affect my friendship with you, but I'd joke about it. I would try and find out what's going on there.
Yeah, you'd want to know what I was.
Yeah,
that would be quite unusual if I said that. I'd be more likely to go to on a Tony Iommi rally, I would think, or I can't think of anyone's.
Another Tony.
I was thinking of another Robinson.
Another Tommy. Oh, Tommy Robinson.
Tony Robinson.
Hey, Tony Robinson. Yeah, going to Baldrick.
Was he in Blackadder?
On a Baldrick event. Yeah.
Does he do rallies?
I've not known of one.
I might go on that. A rally for Time Team or something like that.
Yeah, that would be right, wouldn't it? Yeah, I think that's interesting. So, it wouldn't. If it's a long-time friend, it wouldn't affect it. I think it would. It would be a cause. No, if you said you're a Tottenham fan, definitely not. Never speak to you again. So that's it. So conundrum. A gratitude list then, really. After we put that one to bed.
Oh, I've got two. Is that all right?
You have two. I'll tell you what. We'll do a gratitude sandwich, and you do one, I'll do one, and you do your other one after.
All right. Yeah, great stuff. All right. Well, my first one then is. I went to a gig with my daughter last week, and I think it's the first time I've been to a gig with her for quite some years. But it's really, I don't know if you've done that with either of yours, but it's really lovely to share a sort of adult experience with a grown-up child. And we had a lovely time. I went to a venue that I'd never been to before, and the gig was great. And it was just so nice sort of hanging out with her.
Yeah.
Really lovely. So I remember kind of sitting there thinking, literally feeling very grateful for having that opportunity. So it was lovely.
Who was the band?
We went to see Jensen McRae, who you won't know.
No.
Yeah. At Earth in Hackney, which is like an art centre. But
right.
I mean, as a venue, it is fantastic. You'd love it. Yeah, really fab.
Oh, lovely. No, I suppose it's a nice bonding experience as well.
Yeah.
It is,
and I think we walked past about 9 kebab shops on the way from the station.
Did you?
So if you like a kebab, Dalston is the place to go.
That's the epicenter, is it, of kebab shop?
It appears so, yeah. It appears so.
I've done the same with Lizzie, my youngest, with art galleries and art exhibitions and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
We both appreciate exactly what we're looking at. Yeah, it's a lovely experience. You're right.
I suppose that also is lovely, isn't it? It's nice to feel like when your kids are grown up that there's something that you have very much in common that you can enjoy. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of areas where our tastes that don't coincide.
Quite.
But when you have something, you have an area where it does. That's really lovely.
It is. It is nice. No, it is a nice feeling. And so, I can understand why that's on your gratitude list. Mine is this isn't really the filling in the sandwich, really, because it's very lightweight compared with your first slice.
Oh, that's okay.
But the first slice is quite relevant as well, because I'm grateful for having breakfast out. Okay, out at I met a couple of recovery mates down at the Malta.
Nice.
Not in Malta. I think that would be a sunny climb.
Yeah, that'd be a place to live, wouldn't it? You could go to Malta, couldn't you? Not the Malta, though. I don't think that's very sunny.
No. So down at the Malta, which is a beef eater down at the down by the river.
Yeah.
So it's a lovely sort of buffet style breakfast.
Did you have a full English?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah. With unlimited coffee, which is lovely,
Was it good coffee though?
No. Well, no, it was out of a machine. It was okay. It was all right. And I had some apple juice as well and that sort of thing. So
it's more the occasion, isn't it? Really,
it was more the occasion, but it was nice. It's one of those breakfasts where you eat it and you think that's going to leave me full up for probably most of the day now, and it did. Yeah.
Well, you said that wasn't much of a sort of filling in the sandwich, but actually that's an enormous filling in the sandwich. I mean, you've got egg, bacon, sausage, fried bread, baked beans, mushrooms.
Of course, yeah. Yeah, it was all there, hash brown.
Yeah, blimey.
Yeah, it was all there. So it was really nice. So it is like a literal filling. You're right, but metaphorically, it feels quite lightweight compared with your first slice. You're a gentleman
who brunches now, then.
Well, it was 9:00 we met down there, so it's too early for brunch.
Oh yeah, I suppose it would be. Yeah.
And I think some of these bottomless brunches start around about that sort of time, which is outrageous.
Yeah, you want to steer clear of those.
Well, yeah, very irresponsible marketing. That it always drives me mad when I see signs up for that. But there we go. So, what's your other slice? My
other slice is this. I put some bird feeders up about 4 months ago. I've not had a single bird on them at all.
Yeah.
Nothing. And everybody keeps saying to me, "Oh, yeah, it takes a while for them to know that they're there." And I'd been getting to the point where I thought, "Oh, it's ridiculous." And this morning, they were covered in birds. So I don't know what it is about today, but for some reason, perhaps one of them noticed my bird feeders and told everyone else, "Hey, look, there's some nuts down here."
Yeah.
Let's go and make hay while the sun shines, or it doesn't. And so anyway, my bird feeders were covered in birds, and I felt extremely pleased about it. And then Nelly went in the garden, frightened them all away.
What you need to put on your bird feeder is like a little effigy or a little representation of Paul's lip. And you'll have budgerigars flying in there from all corners.
I tell you what, I'd be very surprised if I saw a budgerigar on one of my bird feeders. That would be unusual, wouldn't it?
Although we do have parrots now, don't we, that have sort of become indigenous in certain parts of London and things.
Well, maybe I'll get a parrot on my bird feed.
Or a flamingo. There was one missing recently. Imagine that coming down. A stork. Yeah.
Well, I'll keep an eye. I'll keep you posted.
Do you know what type of birds you've had on there so far? Because you like it.
There were a couple of wrens.
Oh, right. Lovely.
Blue tits, some robins.
Oh, right. Okay.
A couple of great tits.
Lovely. A great variation then.
And some pigeons were having the berries off the bush. So
were they?
Yeah, it's like a proper aviary.
It was lovely, wasn't it? Yeah. Well, it is lovely. I say was lovely. I mean, I wasn't there, but yeah, it sounds lovely. It sounds great.
Don't try and elbow your way in to my enjoyment. Pretending you were there enjoying it.
Well, I think that was a good sandwich. It was a good gratitude sandwich there.
Nice.
So we're going to the lyric challenge, shall we?
Yeah, I'm still traumatised from missing bloody Procol Harum. That was dreadful.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those mind blank occasions, isn't it? Pressure was on.
Yeah, pressure was, and this is quite a pressure filled game, to be honest.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah,
especially taken completely out of context. Lyrics are tricky.
Yeah. All right, let's go then.
So we've got the 4 questions.
Yep.
The first 3, you get a point each for each of the artist and the track, and then obviously the 4-pointer at the end to give you a total of 10 if possible.
Yeah.
So the first lyric on this challenge is, and the operator says 40 cents more.
Has everyone got an answer at home?
It looks like it's on the tip of your toe. It looks like that.
Well, I know the band. It's Dr. Hook.
It is Dr. Hook.
I talk to her. I'll only keep her a while. That one, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Oh, what's it called?
You get it more. I think if you think about who that telephone call is going to, or who the phone is picked up by, it may help you.
No, I can't remember.
Sylvia's mother.
Oh, Sylvia's mother says.
That's it.
Oh, bloody hell. All right, okay.
You got 1 point on that.
Yeah.
The second one is, don't touch me, please. I can't stand the way you tease.
Okay. Everyone got an answer? I think this is Soft Cell.
Yep.
And Tainted Love.
Tainted Love, Soft Cell. Good work. I'd have given you someone. Actually, because that was a cover version, wasn't it? So I can't remember who did the original one. But,
was it?
But I'd have given you. Is
that the one you were thinking of?
Yes, it was. Yeah, no, Soft Cell wrong. I can't give you a point.
Yeah, that'd be quite unfair.
It would be quite unfair. No, you're doing quite well here. Quite well. I think you'll get this one as well. I think.
Oh, that's what you said about bloody Procol Harum.
Well, I did expect you to get that. I must admit.
Flipping kidology, supermarket psychology. Come on then.
Well, okay. How can you tell me you're lonely?
Is it Streets of London?
Yep.
Who was it though? Was it Ralph McTell?
It was Ralph McTell. Yes.
Oh, I'm on fire. I think I've got 5, haven't I?
You have got 5 out of 6 so far.
That's my best score ever.
I would have given you a point there for Ain't You Nowhere League as well, because they did a version.
Yeah, well, you can do some lyrics from So What one week.
I'll probably leave that one. I think most Ain't You Nowhere League lyrics are probably not suitable for this.
No, you're probably right.
So 5 out of 6. No, you've got a chance here, because I think you might get a 4-pointer.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. If I get this right, that's probably set a standard that I will never exceed.
Never reach again. Well, you know, you could still get 10, couldn't you? Because you've got a possibility of 9 here.
Yeah.
So the 4-pointer is looking back on when we first met.
That's not ringing any bell. Looking back on when we first met.
But
I don't know. I don't know it. Who is it?
It's Atomic Kitten. Whole Again.
Hang on, wait a minute. You said I think you might get this.
Well, yeah. Look,
what universe did you think?
looking back on when we first met. I know. Yeah, it's just that I was singing it in my mind when I.
Yeah, I'm all over the bloody Atomic Kitten back catalogue.
Yeah, I know you're a big girl band fan. So 5 out of 10.
Anyway, 5. That's okay because
that's your best so far.
That's marked steady progress. I'm okay with that.
You've got to be pleased with that.
Yeah. Let's not be greedy.
No, and it's something to build. It's a building block.
Exactly. I've left myself some headroom, haven't I? Some max headroom.
Yeah, and you can. You'll undoubtedly improve as time goes by. Although each one of these is a one-off hit, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
something
true,
you can build on.
Luck of the draw, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. All right. Well.
Okay. So that's me done.
Yeah. See you next time.
Laters.
Bye. Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandy-wellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.